Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare I'm sweating a lot. But when you're drums, like I think
Yes,
Yeah. See, we're part of it. All of it. I'm just I'm trying to positive things. We see it equivalent
Hare Krishna, Lavish Prabhu, Lavanya, Vani Mata, Dhanavad Pranam. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Yes, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
we are able to hear you.
Thank you very much for joining and thank you for waiting. So let me put one message. I will over to you, Lavanya, in some time. Okay, I'll let you know. వెళ్ళిందా పిల్లల స్కూల్
వెళ్ళిపోయింది.
వచ్చిందా ఆయన టైంకే
వచ్చింది.
నువ్వు ల్యాప్టాప్ లో కనెక్ట్ కదా ఓం నమో భగవతే వాసుదేవాయ ఓం నమో భగవతే వాసుదేవాయ ఓం నమో భగవతే వాసుదేవాయ మజ్ఞానతిమిరంధస్య జ్ఞానాంజనశలాకయా చక్షురున్మిలితం येन తస్మై శ్రీ గురవే నమః నమో విష్ణుపాదాయ కృష్ణకృష్ణాయ బుధరేశ్వరతే भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं भंगं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्यमीश्वरम् ओम अपवित्र पवित्रो वा सर्वावसङ्गतोऽपि वा यस्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षं सबाह्याभ्यन्तरं शुचिः श्री विष्णु ओम तद्विष्णु परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूर्यो दिव्यो चक्षुषा ततं सद्विप्रासो विपन्यो जागृहं स समिन्दते विष्णुं यत् परमं पदम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we are reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, chapter 21, not 21, 22, sorry. So I'm sharing here, 1 second, 22. Yeah, I'll start reading from this paragraph. Okay, yeah. Vani Mata, please start.
Yes, Prabhuji.
ఒక నిమిషం టైటిల్ చెప్తాను. Swami invites the hippies.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Swami
invites hippies. They are ready to take samasa. They are ready to take ISKCON bullets. Now they are becoming intoxicated with Krishna Prasadam, and their bad habits will go away. They become disciples and they become ultimately sannyasis also. Hari Bol. Okay, start reading.
Yeah. Aside from Vedic standards, even by the standard of Swamiji's New York disciples, the devotees of San Francisco were not very strict. Some continued going to the donut shop, eating food without offering it to Krishna. Oh, donut shop, okay. Eating food without offering to Krishna. And eating forbidden things like chocolate and commercial ice cream. Some even indulged in after Kirtana cigarette breaks right outside the temple door. Some got initiated without knowing precisely what they had agreed to practice. Kirtanananda. The mood in San Francisco was a lot more relaxed. The devotees liked to go to the corner and have their coffee and donuts. But Prabhupada loved the way so many people were coming, and he loved the program at the Avalon Ballroom. But there were two sides. Those who strictly followed the rules and regulation and emphasized purity, and then those who were not so concerned about strictness, but who wanted to spread Krishna consciousness as widely as possible. Swamiji was so great that he embraced both groups. Michael Wright, 21, had recently gotten out of Marine Corps, and Nancy Grindle, 18, was fresh out of high school. They met in a college in Los Angeles. Feeling frustrated and in need of something tangible to which to dedicate their lives, they had come to San Francisco to join the hippies. But they soon realized that they and the Ashbury hippies, whom they found dirty, aimless, unproductive, and lost in their search for identity, had little in common. So Nancy took up a job as a secretary for the telephone company, and Michael found work as a lineman for the electric company. They had heard about the Swami at Highgate Ashbury and decided to visit the temple. In the
Thank you.
evening, thank you.
Thank Thank you. Yeah. Sandhya Mata, Hare Krishna, please continue.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. It was an evening kirtana, and the irrepressible piece were twirling, twisting, and wiggling. Michael and Nancy took a seat on the floor to one side, impressed more by the presence of the Swami than by the kirtana. After the kirtana, Prabhupada lectured, but they found his accent heavy. They wanted to understand. They had an innate feeling that he was saying something valuable, and yet the secret seemed locked behind a thick accent and within a book written in another language. They decided to come back in the morning and try again.
Continue.
At the morning program, they found a smaller group. A dozen devotees with beads were chanting draped around their necks, a few street people. The kirtana seemed sweeter and more mellow, and Michael and Nancy chanted and danced along with the devotees. Then Prabhupada spoke, and this time they got a few of his ideas. They stayed for breakfast and became friends with Mukunda and Janaki, Sam and Marjorie, now Shyamasundara and Malati, Yamuna and Gurudasa, and Govinda Dasi and Gaurasundara. They liked the devotees and promised to come again that evening. Soon they were regularly attending the morning.
Very well.
Should I
Till
continue,
last,
Prabhuji?
somehow in my internet, or I don't know, we cut some cut. Where till this you read, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Weekend cooking classes.
Okay. Read one more. I mean, somehow I couldn't hear few last statements. Anyway, continue this paragraph also.
Okay, Prabhuji. Michael was open to Prabhupada's ideas, but he had difficulty accepting the necessity of surrendering to a spiritual authority. His tendency was to reject authorities, but the more he thought about it, the more he saw that Prabhupada was right. He had to accept an authority. He reasoned, every time I stop at a red light, I'm accepting an authority. And finally, he concluded that to progress in spiritual understanding, he would have to accept a spiritual authority. Yet, because he did not want to accept it, he was in a dilemma. Finally, after hearing Prabhupada's lectures for 2 weeks, Michael decided to surrender to Prabhupada's authority and try to become Krishna conscious.
Very well. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Right. Okay. Yeah, Lavanya, go ahead. Sapan Prabhu and Muralidhar Prabhu, both of them in hearing only. Okay.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu,
Michael,
I'm hearing more, Prabhu.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
can I continue?
Yes. Go ahead.
Michael said, Nancy and I decided to get married and become Swamiji's disciples and members of his society. We told some of the devotees we would like to see Swamiji. They said, yes, just go up. He is on the 3rd floor. We were a little surprised that there were no formalities required, and when we got to the door, his servant Rancho let us in. We went in with our shoes on, so Rancho had to ask us to take off them. I didn't know exactly what to say to Swamiji. I was depending on my future wife to make the initial opening. But then I finally said, We came because we would like to become members of your Krishna Conscious Society. He said this was very nice. Then I said that actually the main reason we were there was that we wanted to be married. We knew that he performed marriage ceremonies and that is part of the society's requirements that couples had to be duly married before they could live together. Swamiji asked me if I liked the philosophy and if I had a job. My answer to both questions was yes. He explained that first of all, we all would have to be initiated and then we could be married in the next month.
Continue, continue. Go on.
All their initiation, Michael received the name Dayananda and Nancy received the name Nandarani. Soon Prabhupada performed their marriage. Nandarani said, "We knew it would be a very big wedding in Hyde Ashbury. Whenever Swamiji would perform a wedding, hundreds of people would come and the temple would be filled. My parents were coming and Dayananda's parents were also coming. Swamiji said that it was the proper that I cook. He said I should come to his apartment on the morning of the wedding and he would help me to cook something for the wedding feast. So that morning, I put on my best jeans and my best sweatheart and my boots and I went off to Swamiji's apartment. When I got upstairs, I walked in with my boots on. Swamiji was sitting there in his rocking chair. He smiled at me and said, "Oh, you have come to cook?" I said, "Yes." He sat there and looked at me, one of those long silent stares. He said, "First take off the boots." Hare Krishna.
Thank you, thank you. Who's there? Lavish Prabhu? I think Lilithmal Prabhu joined and left. Internet issue, I don't know. Lavish Prabhu, please read. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Lavish Prabhu, are you there? Lavish Prabhu. I will read anyway. After I took off my boots and my old leather jacket, Swamiji got up and went into the kitchen. He got a very large pot that had been burned so thick on the bottom that practically there was no metal visible. He handed it to me and said, "We want to boil milk in this pot. It has to be washed." There wasn't a sink in Swamiji's kitchen, only a teeny round basin. So I went into the bathroom, put the pot in the bathtub, and rinsed it out. I assumed Swamiji didn't want the black of the bottom because it was burned on. So I brought it back to him and he said, "Oh, that is very clean, but just take off this little black on the bottom here." I said, "Okay," and got a knife and crawled into the bathtub and started scrubbing the black off. I worked and worked and worked and I scrubbed and scrubbed. I had cleansed up to my elbows and I made a mess everywhere. I had gotten about half the black off. The rest seemed to be more or less an integral part of the bottom. So I took the pot back to Swamiji and said, "This is the best I can do. All of this is burned on." He said, "Yes, yes, you have done a wonderful job. Now just take off this black that's left." వదిలిపెడతలేడు ప్రభుపాద. So I went back into the bathtub and scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. It was almost midday when I came out of the bathtub with all the black scrubbed off the bottom of that pot. He was so happy when I brought the pot in. It was sparkling. A big smile came on his face and he said, "Oh, this is perfect." I was exhausted. Then Swamiji welcomed me into his kitchen and taught me how to make rasagullas. We boiled the milk, curdled it, and then I sat down and began rolling the curd into balls on a tray. As I rolled the balls, I would put them in a little row along the tray, and every single ball had to be exactly the same size. Swamiji would take his thumb and first and second fingers and shoot the balls out of the row when they weren't right size. And I would have to remake them until they were the right size. This went on until I had a full tray of balls all the same size. Then Swamiji showed me how to boil the balls of curd in sugar water. Malati, Janaki, and I were cooking in the kitchen, and Swamiji was singing. At one point, Swamiji stopped singing and asked me, "Do you know what your name means?" I couldn't even remember what my name was. He had told me at initiation, but because none of us used our devout names, I couldn't remember what mine was. I said, "No, Swamiji, what does my name mean?" He said, "It means you are the mother of Krishna." And he laughed loudly and went back to stirring the rasagullas. I couldn't understand who Krishna was, who in the world his mother would be, or how I was in any way related to her. But I was satisfied that Swamiji felt that I was somebody worth being. I finished cooking that afternoon about 4 o'clock, and then I went home to get dressed for the wedding. Although I had never worn anything but old dresses and jeans. Swamiji had suggested to the other ladies that they find a way to put me into a sari for the wedding. So we bought a piece of silk to use for a sari. I went to Malati's house. She was going to try to help me put it on. I couldn't keep it on, so she said she had to sew it on me. Then they decorated me with flowers and took me to Swamiji and showed him. He was very happy. He said, This is the way our women should always look. No more jeans and dresses. They should always wear saris, saribor. Cooking nunchi, dressing nunchi, diety వర్షి గురించి ఎన్ని everything, everything. Yes, given trainings. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That's where we are seeing, no? I mean, how these Westerners take up that process so seriously and following the Prabhupada footsteps. Thank you so much. So let me ask.
Prabhuji, can
Lavish,
you hear me now?
yeah. You read, Prabhu. I am calling you.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, please read.
Actually, I looked a fright. I kept stumbling, and they had to sew the cloth on me. But Swamiji thought it was wonderful. The cloth was all one color. So Swamiji said, next time we should buy clothes that has a little border on the bottom. So it's two colors. I like two color better. When we went downstairs to the wedding, Swamiji met my relatives. He spoke to them very politely. My mother cried a lot during the ceremony. I was very satisfied that she had been blessed by meeting Swamiji. Steve Bolett, age 20, born and raised in New York and now living the hippie life in San Francisco, had read in the Oracle about Swami Bhaktivedanta's coming to San Francisco. The idea of meeting an Indian Swami had interested him, and responding to a notice he had seen posted on Hyde Street, he had gone along with Car- Caroline Gold, the woman he was living with, to the airport to meet Swami Bhaktivedanta. He and Caroline had both gotten a blissful life by chanting Hare Krishna and seeing Prabhupada, and they began regularly attending the lectures and kirtanas at the temple. Steve decided he wanted to become like the Swami, so he and Caroline went together to see Prabhupada and requested initiation. Speaking privately with Prabhupada in his room, they discussed obedience to the spiritual master and becoming vegetarian. When Prabhupada told them that they should either stop living together or get married, they said, Prabhuji, can you move little up?
Yes.
They said they would like to get married and initiation date was set. Prabhupada asked Steve to shave his long hair and beard. Why do you want me to shave my head? Steve protested. Krishna's had long hair, Rama has long hair, Lord Chaitanya has had long hair, and Christ had long hair. Why should I shave my head? Prabhupada smiled and replied, because now you are following me. There was a print on the wall of Surdasa, a Vaishnava. You should shave your head like that. Prabhupada said, pointing to Surdasa. I don't think I am ready to do this yet, Steve said. All right, you are still a young man. There is still time, but at least you should shave your face clean and cut your hair like a man. On the morning of the initiation, Steve shaved off his beard beard and cut his hair around his ears so that it was short in front but long in the back. How is this? He asked. Prabhuji, can you move little up? Yeah. You should cut the back also, Prabhupada replied. Steve agreed. To Steve, Prabhupada gave the name Subala and to Caroline the name Krishna Devi. A few days later, he performed their wedding. Since each ceremony was another occasion for kirtan and prasadam distribution, onlookers become attracted. And as the spiritual name and married couple increased with each ceremony, Prabhupada's spiritual family grew. The harmonious atmosphere was like that of a small loving family, and Prabhupada dealt with his disciples intimately, without the formalities of an institution or hierarchy. Disciples would approach him for various reasons, entering the little apartment to be alone with him as he sat on the mat, but his makeshift desk in the morning sunlight. When men like Mukunda, Gurudasa, and Shyamasundara, Swamiji was a friend. With Janaki and Govindasi, he was sometimes ready to be a chided, almost like their naughty son. So, or he would be their grandfatherly teacher of cooking, the enforcer of the rules of kitchen cleanliness, and all of them he was the Prabhuji, can you move little up? And to all of them he was the unfathomable, pure devotee of Lord Krishna who knew the conclusions of all the Vedic scriptures, and he knew beyond all doubt the truth of transmigration. He could answer all questions. He could lead them beyond material life, beyond Haiche Ashvare, Hippidam, and into the spiritual world with Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare, thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Somebody joined. Lalit Pawan Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yes, bro. Thank you, bro. It was 7 p.m. Srila Prabhupada entered the temple dressed in saffron dhoti, an old turtleneck jersey under a cardigan sweater, and a chadara around his shoulder. Walking to the dais in the rear of the room, he took his seat. The dais, a cushion atop a redwood plank, 2 feet off the floor, was supported between two redwood columns. In front of the dais stood a cloth covered lectern with a bucket of cut flowers on either side. Covering the wall behind the dais was a typical Indian madras with Haridas' crude painting of Lord Chaitanya in Kirtana hanging against it. Should I do one more, Prabhu?
Yeah, please, Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada picked up his kartalas, wrapped the cloth straps around his forefingers, and looked out at his young followers sitting cross-legged on the burgundy rug. The men were bearded, and almost everyone wore long hair, beads, exotic clothing, and trinkets. The bulbs hanging from the ceiling diffused their light through Japanese paper lanterns, and Navajo God's Eye symbols dangled from springs. Prabhupada began the ringing 1, 2, 3 rhythm, and Shyamsundara began pumping the harmonium. Although the harmonium was a simple instrument, a miniature piano keyboard to be played with the right hand and a bellows to be pumped with the left hand. No one in the Frederick Street storefront knew how to play it, so it became simply the drone. Another important kirtana instrument, the two-headed mridanga from India, was meant to for intricate rhythmic accompaniments. But even Mukunda could play it only very simply, matching the 1, 2, 3 of Prabhupada's kartalas. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. ఇంకో చదువుతారా చదవండి చదవండి ఇంకో 2 paragraphs చదవండి Prabhu.
Okay. There were other instruments on hand. A kettle drum, the pride of the temple, Hayagriva's old cornet, a few conch shells, and a horn Hayagriva had made by shellacking a piece of kelp he had found on the beach. Some guests had brought their own flutes, pipes, and bongos. But for now, They let their instruments remain still and clapped to Prabhupada's rhythm as he sang the evening prayers. Prabhupada's Sanskrit hymn praised the Vaishnava spiritual masters. For each great devotee in the disciplic succession, he sang a specific prayer. First, he chanted the poetic description of transcendental qualities of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Then, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, one after another. One prayer described Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta as the deliverer of the fallen souls, and another praised Gaur Kishore Das Babaji as renunciation personified, always merged in the feeling of separation and intense love for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada sang of Lord Chaitanya, the golden complexion, supreme personality of Godhead, who distributed pure love of Krishna. And he sang of Lord Krishna, the ocean of mercy, the friend of distressed, the source of creation. As Prabhupada became absorbed in the bhajana, his body trembled with ecstatic emotion. The group on the floor the group on the floor sat swaying from side to side, watching him, his eyes closed in meditation, his delicate, practiced fingers expertly playing the cymbals. They heard the heartfelt minor moods and tones of his voice, unlike anything they had heard before. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Lavanya, you want to continue? Horse తీసుకుంటావా? హరే కృష్ణ.
Yes,
Lavanya.
yes, yes. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah. ఇక్కడ నుండి చదివిపియాలా?
ఇది అయిపోయింది, ప్రభు చదివిండు. సో
Yeah.
నెక్స్ట్ నుంచి నేను పింగ్ చేస్తా ఇట్లా.
అది
హోస్ట్
శ్లోక రిసైటేషన్ ఏంటి ఇవాళ?
శ్లోక రిసైటేషన్ ఇవి రెండు పంపిస్తా, అన్ని ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసుకున్నాం వాళ్ళు ఎవరైతే జాయిన్ అవుతారో వాళ్ళు. లేదంటే ఇక రేపటి నుంచి మళ్ళీ భక్తి వైభవ చూద్దాం. వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ అయితే వాళ్ళతో జస్ట్ శ్లోక రిసైటేషన్ చేయించుకున్నారు. ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ లెట్ దెమ్ ప్రాక్టీస్. దేర్ ఆర్ 9 శ్లోకాస్ దేర్. ఓకే, 1 2 3
Complete
4
9 slokas, right?
9 శ్లోకాస్ ఉట్టిగా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసుకోమను. ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ లెట్ దెమ్ దేర్ ఓన్ వే టు డూ దట్. అది తర్వాత వాట్ ఈస్ దస్, ఇది ఓపెన్ చేయండి ఫస్ట్. అది మన ప్రోపర్ లీలామృత ఓపెన్ చేయండి. లింక్ పంపిస్తున్నా ఇక్కడ జూమ్ లో. యా, ఆ లింక్ ఓపెన్ చేయండి జూమ్ లో. తర్వాత ఈ పారాగ్రాఫ్ నుంచి కంటిన్యూ చేయండి. అది కూడా అక్కడ పెట్టేసిన చాట్ లో. ల్యాప్టాప్ లో ఉన్నా కదా.
షేర్ చేశారా? I'm unable to see.
ల్యాప్టాప్ లో
ల్యాప్టాప్ లోనే ఉన్నా. షేర్ చేశారా?
నేను ఇక్కడ జూమ్ చాట్ లో క్లిక్ చేయండి, లింక్ అంతే.
ఓ జూమ్ చాటా? ఓకే ఓకే. Just a second.
ఏం ఇష్యూ ఉంది?
పేరా అది వెతుకుతున్నా. 1 second.
పారాగ్రాఫ్ కూడా నేను చాట్ లో పెట్టా కదా, నువ్వు జస్ట్ స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేయి. ఏం లేదా, స్క్రీన్ షేర్ అది క్లిక్ చేస్తే అయిపోతుంది. అది తర్వాత పారాగ్రాఫ్ కూడా అక్కడనే చాట్ లో పెట్టినా, జస్ట్ కాపీ చేసి సెర్చ్ చేయి అంతే. ఇప్పుడు చాట్లోనే మొత్తం డబుల్ క్లిక్ చేస్తే మొత్తం కాపీ అవుతుంది. సో ఎనీవే, దెన్ హీ బిగాన్ అని సెర్చ్ చేయి. కంట్రోల్ ఎఫ్ కొట్టు. కంట్రోల్ ఎఫ్. దెన్ he began the familiar mantra.
మీరు అప్పటి వరకు ఒక పేర చదివించండి, నేను వెతుకుతాను.
నేను చదువుతుంది
చదవండి.
Then he began the familiar mantra they had come to hear. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And immediately they joined him. The horns and drums sounded, and soon all the other instrument players joined in. Gradually, a few at a time, members of the audience rose to their feet and began to dance. Prabhupada's followers stood and began stepping from side to side as he had shown them, sometimes raising their hands in the air. Others moved as they pleased, occasionally opening his eyes and glancing around. Prabhupada sat firmly, chanting, though his head and body were trembling. After 20 minutes, many of the young dancers were leaping, jumping, and perspiring. Did you find out?
You read. Just a second.
నా దగ్గర ఉంది ప్రభు. If you want, I can
Okay.
share.
After 20 minutes, many of the young dancers were leaping. అదన్నా సెర్చ్ చేయి కనీసము. యూనో ఇప్పుడు స్క్రీన్ మీద చూసేది సెర్చ్ చేసుకుంటా ఎట్లా ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయండి ప్లీజ్ కొంచెం. After 20 minutes, many of the young dancers were leaping, jumping, and perspiring. As Prabhupada continued to sing, leading the dancers by the beat of his kartalas, his eyes were closed, yet he controlled the entire wild congregation. Playing his kartalas loudly, the chanting and dancing continued, and Prabhupada approved. The kirtana of these hippies was different from the chanting of Indian brahmanas, but Prabhupada didn't mind. His standard was devotion. In his Radha Krishna temple, whatever he accepted, Krishna accepted. This was his offering to Krishna through his spiritual master. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada, was absolutely confident. Even if his young devotees didn't know how to play the harmonium, keyboard, or the mridanga, even if they didn't know that congregational kirtana should be done not in constant unison as they were doing, but responsively. But even if they didn't know how to honor the Guru, still, because they were chanting and dancing, he encouraged them and nodded to them. Yes. In the final audition, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shall I read, Prabhuji?
ఒక్క నిమిషం ఏమైంది లావణ్య? Hare Krishna. We are not able to hear you. Are you speaking? Are you speaking on mute?
Just a second. Let him read. Let Prabhuji read. I'll find out.
Chandraval Prabhu, please stay. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Continue.
Hare Krishna. Wild elements were there, of course, people whose minds and intentions were far away in some chemically induced fantasy. And the mood was dominated by Srila Prabhupada's followers, who danced with arms praised and watched their leaders carefully. Although in many ways they were like hippies, they were Swamiji's disciples, and they wanted to please him and follow his instructions. They wanted to attain Krishna consciousness. For all the varied punctuation of horns and timpani, the Kirtana remained sweet. Haigrava even played his cornet in tune and only during every other mantra. Srila Prabhupada knew that some aspects of the Kirtana was wrong or below standard, but he accepted the offering and not awkwardly, but lovingly. He simply wanted these American boys and girls to chant. That they dressed irregularly, jumped too savagely, or had the wrong philosophy did not over concern him. These boys and girls were chanting Hare Krishna, so at least for the present they were pure. The hippies knew that too, and they loved it.
Continue.
This pair is done, Prabhuji. Yeah. Just as in Janki's dream, Srila Prabhupada's pleasure was to see the whole world engaged in Kirtana. Somehow or other, he would say people should be engaged in Krishna consciousness. And this was the instruction of Lord Chaitanya's chief follower, Rupa Goswami, who had written, Tasmat Kenapi Upayena Mana Krishna Niveshayati. Somehow or other, fix the mind on Krishna. The rules and regulations can come later. Inherent in this attitude of Srila Prabhupada's and Srila Rupa Goswami's was a strong conviction about the purifying force of the holy name. If engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, even the most fallen person could gradually become a saintly devotee. Srila Prabhupada would often quote a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, affirming that persons addicted to sinful acts could be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. He knew that every height Ashbury hippie was eligible to receive the mercy of the holy name, and he saw it as his duty to his spiritual master to distribute the gift of Krishna consciousness freely, rejecting no one. Yet, while living amongst these militias, he required a certain action of behavior, and he was adamant about preserving the purity of his Krishna consciousness society.
Thank
Prabhuji,
you.
can I నా టర్న్ రాలేదు ఇంకా
మీరు హియరింగ్ కూడా అన్నారు కదా, సో కంటిన్యూ అయితే.
For example, if you were going to distribute free food to public, it could not be ordinary food but must be prasadam, food offered to Krishna. Feeding hungry people was futile unless they were given prasadam and the chance of liberation from birth and death. And although in the Kirtanas he allowed openness and free expression and welcomed the wildest participation, the transcendental sound of the holy name had to dominate. He never allowed the Kirtana to degenerate into mere beating on drums or chanting of any old words, nor could anyone in the group become so crazy that others won't be able to hear or take part in congregational chanting. In his attempts to somehow or the other get these young people chanting Hare Krishna, Prabhupada instinctively knew what to allow and what not to allow. He was a master and he knew his disciples followed him when he permitted an egoistic, sensual dancer to jump around the temple or a drugged madman to argue with him in a question and answer period. When a person was too disruptive, Prabhupada was not afraid to stop him, but stopping was rare. The main thing was giving.
కంటిన్యూ బాబు.
The Kirtana lasted more than an hour as the chanters joined hands and danced around the room and incense poured out the front door. The morning and evening Kirtanas had already made the Radha Krishna temple popular in Haight Ashbury, but when the devotees began serving a daily free lunch, the temple became an integral part of the community. Prabhupada told his disciples simply to cook and distribute prasadam. That would be their only activity during the day. In the morning, they would cook, and at noon, they would feed everyone who came. Sometimes 150 to 200 hippies from the street of Haight Ashbury. Before the morning Kirtana, the girls would put an oatmeal on the stove, and by breakfast, there would be a room full of hippies, most of whom had been up all night. The cereal and fruit was, for some, the first solid food in days. Thank you, bro. Hare Krishna.
థ్యాంక్ యూ. వాణిమాతది.
Prabhuji.
Lavanya, are you not able to find what is the problem with you?
Yes, I could find. Just a second.
Can you please do this? Na?
Yeah.
సెర్చ్ చేయడానికి ఇంత కష్టం అయితే ఎట్లా?
హర్షరాని అక్కడ అంటే డిఫరెంట్ వర్డ్స్ సేమ్ వస్తున్నాయి కదా.
ఇట్స్ ఓకే. దట్స్ వేర్ నా చదువుతున్నప్పుడే చూసుకోవాలి కదా. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఎనీవే, ఐఎమ్ డ్రాపింగ్ అవర్ డ్యూటీస్. ఐఎమ్ రియల్లీ టైర్డ్. టుమారో మార్నింగ్ ఐ హ్యావ్ సేవ్ ఆల్సో. Thank you so much again. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo కోటి వైష్ణవ వృంద की जय. జగద్గురు శ్రీల ప్రభుపాద की जय. ఈ పారాగ్రాఫ్స్ వచ్చే ఈ ఆన్సర్ అని పైన నుండి ఓకే అక్కడి నుంచి చదివియండి. ఐ హావ్ ఆల్రెడీ షేర్డ్ ఐ థింక్ భక్తి శాస్త్రి శ్లోకాస్. కంటిన్యూ. వెరీ గుడ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji said, is it okay? Is it visible,
Ma-
Harshrani?
Yeah, it's visible, Mataji. Okay, should I start?
Yes, Mataji.
Harshan, the lunch program attracted a lot of hippie hill crowd who obviously wanted food. They were really hungry, and there were other people who would come also. People who were working with the temple but weren't initiated. The record player would be playing the Swami's record. It was a nice family atmosphere. Haridasa. It was taken outside too, outside the front. But the main food was served inside. It was amazing. The people would just all huddle together and we would really line them wall to wall. A lot of them would simply eat and leave. Other stores along Hyatt Ashbury were selling everything from beads to rock records, but our store was different because we weren't selling anything. We were giving it away. And we were welcoming everybody. We were providing a kind of refuge from the tumult and madness of the scene. So it was, in that sense, a hospital. And I think a lot of people were helped and maybe even saved. I don't mean only their souls, I mean their minds and bodies were saved because of what was going on in the streets that day was just simply couldn't handle. I'm talking about overdose of drugs, people who were playing lost and needed comforting and who sort of wandered or staggered into the temple. Some of them stayed and became devotees. Some just took prasadam and left. Daily we had unusual incidents and Swamiji witnessed it and took part in it. The lunch program was his idea. Mukunda, the Salvation Army came in one day for lunch. They just unloaded a whole truckload of people on us, about 30 or 40. Larry Shippen, some of the community of the loose people cynically took advantage of the free food. They didn't appreciate the Swami, but they said he was in his own way an orthodox minister and they were much more interested in being unorthodox. It was fairly cynical thing. Those who were more interested and had questions Mataji, I think I've lost it. And where is it?
Yes, Mataji. Even I lost just a second. Like take for me. Harshrani, where is Harshrani?
మాతాజీ కిందకి వెళ్ళిపోయారు అక్కడ పై ఏరో నొక్కండి మాతాజీ హర్షరాణి పక్కన అప్ ఏరో ఉంది కదా అది నొక్కండి అక్కడికి వెళ్తున్నాం.
Yes, just a second. Alan Ginsberg అయిపోయిందా ప్రభుజీ అది అవ్వలేదు కదా?
లేదు లేదు అవ్వలేదు.
అవ్వలేదు మాతాజీ.
మీరు ఆ పైన హర్షరాణి సెర్చ్ కొట్టారు కదా ఆ పక్కన అప్ ఏరో ఉంది కదా అది నొక్కండి మాతాజీ. వచ్చింది ఇదిగా దీనికన్నా పైన ఉన్నది మాతాజీ. దీనికన్నా పై ఇది సెకండ్ హర్షరాణి ఇది.
Yes. Yes. I highlighted. Yes.
Yeah. Those who were more interested and had questions, the spiritual seekers, would visit Swamiji in his room. Many of them would come in complete anxiety over the war in Vietnam or whatever was going on, trouble with the law, had bad experiences on drugs, or falling out with school or family. Continue, Jana Mataji.
Yeah, we'll give it to Sandhya Mataji.
Yeah,
Sandhya Mataji.
okay.
Hare Krishna
Mataji,
Mataji.
are you there? Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
Krishna.
There was much public concern about the huge influx of youth into San Francisco. A situation, Mataji, some icon,
Yes.
a situation that was creating an almost uncontrollable social problem. Police and social welfare workers were worried about health problems and poor living conditions, especially in high Ashbury. Some middle-class people feared a complete hippie take over. The local authorities welcomed the service offered by Swami Bhaktivedanta's temple, and when civic leaders in Hayat Ashugri talked of forming a council to deal with the crisis, they requested Swami Bhaktivedanta to take part. He agreed but lost interest after the first meeting. No one seemed seriously interested in hearing his. Should I continue, Mataji?
Continue, Mataji. Master. Yeah.
Subramania, a lot of responsible citizens in San Francisco were very happy that Swami Bhaktivedanta was working amongst the young people. The young people at that time were searching and needed somebody of very high caliber who would take an interest in them and who would say, you should do this and you should not do that. The consensus was that no one could tell the young people what to do because they were completely out of hand with the drugs and so forth. But Swamiji told them what to do and they did it. And everyone is appreciative, especially the young people. Harsharani, just from a mechanical standpoint, doctors did not know what to do with people on IST. The police and the free clinics in the area could not handle the overload of people taking LSD. The police saw Swamiji as a certain refuge.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ravish Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Master Subramania,
Michael,
a lot of
here,
responsibility.
here, Prabhuji. Michael Bowen.
Okay, sorry. Michael Bowen. Bhaktivedanta had an amazing ability through devotion to get people off drugs, especially speed, heroin, burnout, LSD cases, all of that. Haridasa. The police used to come with their paddy wagons through the park in the early hours of the morning and pick up runaway teenagers sleeping in the park. The police would run them up and try to send them back home. The hippies needed all the help they could get, and they knew it. And the Radha Krishna temple was certainly a kind of spiritual heaven. Kids sense it. They were running, living on the streets, no place where they could go, where they could rest, where people were not going to hurt them. A lot of kids would literally fall into the temple. I think it saved a lot of lives. There might have been a lot more casualties if it had not been for Hare Krishna. It was like opening a temple on a battlefield. It was the hardest place to do it, but it was the place where it was most needed. Although the Swami had no precedents for dealing with any of this, he applied the chanting with miraculous results. The chanting was wonderful, it worked. Srila Prabhupada knew that only Krishna consciousness could help. Others had their remedies, but Prabhupada considered them mere patchwork. He knew that ignorantly identifying the self with the body was the real cause of suffering. How could someone help himself but to speak of others? If he did not know who he was, if he did not know, Mataji, could you please move little up? If he did not know that the body was only a covering for the real self, the spirit soul, which could be happy only in his original nature as an eternal servant of Krishna.
Yeah,
Understanding that Lord Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, Chandramali Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Chandramali Prabhuji. Lalit Mohan Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Mataji.
Yeah, you can read Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Chandramauli Prabhu, go ahead, Prabhu.
Oh, 1 minute. Hare Krishna. Understanding that Lord Krishna considered anyone who approached him a virtuous person, and then even a little devotional service would never be lost and could save a person at the time of death. Srila Prabhupada had opened his door to everyone, even the most abject runaway. But for a lost soul to fully receive the balm of Krishna consciousness, he would have first to stay a while and chant, inquire, listen, and follow. As Allen Ginsberg had advised 5,000 hippies at the Avalon, the Early morning Kirtana at the temple provided a vital community service for those who were coming down from LSD and wanted to stabilize their consciousness on re-entry. Alan himself sometimes dropped by in the morning with acquaintances with whom he had stayed up all night.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Lalit Mohan Prabhuji, you can read this.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. Alan Ginsberg. At 6:30 in the morning, we went over to Swami Bhaktivedanta space station for some chanting and a little Krishna consciousness. There were about 30 or 40 people there, all chanting Hare Krishna to this new tune they have made up, just for mornings. One kid got a little freaked out by the scene at first, but then he relaxed. And afterwards, he told me, at first I thought, what is this? But then suddenly, I realized I was just not grooving with where I was. I wasn't being where I was. On occasion, the re-entries would come flying in out of control for crash landings in the middle of the night. One morning at 2 a.m., the boys sleeping in the storefront were awakened by a pounding at the door, screaming, and police lights. When they opened the door, a young hippie with wild red hair and beard plunged in, crying, "Oh Krishna, Krishna, oh help me! Oh, don't let them get me! Oh, for God's sake, help!"
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Sapan
Mataji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Sapan
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Mataji. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. A policeman stuck his head in the door and smiled. We decided to bring him by here, he said, because we thought maybe you guys could help him. I'm not comfortable in this body. The boy screamed as the policeman shut the door. The boy began chanting furiously and turned white, sweating profusely in terror. Swamiji's boys spent the rest of the early morning consoling him and chanting with him until the Swami came down for Kirtana and class. The devotees often sent distressed young people to Swamiji with their problems, and they allowed almost anyone to see Swamiji and take up his valuable time. While walking around San Francisco, Ravindra Swarupa once met a man who claimed to have seen people from Mars in his tent when he had been stationed in Vietnam. The man, who had just been discharged from an army hospital, said that the Martians had talked to him. Ravindra Swarupa told him about Swamiji's book, Easy Journey to Other Planets, which verified the idea of life on other planets. And he suggested that Swamiji could probably tell him more about the people from Mars. So the man visited the Swami up in his apartment. Yes, Swamiji answered, there are Martians.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anybody left? Hare Krishna. Gradually, Prabhupada's followers became more considerate of their spiritual master and began protecting him from persons they thought might be undesirable. One such undesirable was Rabbit, perhaps the dirtiest hippie in Haight-Ashbury. Rabbit's hair was always disshaved, dirty, and even filled with lice. His clothes were ragged and filthy, and his dirt-caked body stank. He wanted to meet Prabhupada, but the devotees refused, not wanting to defile Prabhupada's room with Rabbit's nasty, stinking presence. One night after the lecture, however, Rabbit waited outside the temple door. As Prabhupada approached, Rabbit asked, "May I come up and see you?" Prabhupada agreed. Yeah, we will end up here and we will start shloka recitation. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhuji, you want to share anything? Hare Krishna. Lalit Mohan Prabhuji, meanwhile.
No, Mataji. Nothing. So, it's understandable. You can share the shlokas, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, just a second. Just a second. With translations is there or directly shlokas is there? Let me check once. Is it visible, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Prabhuji, మీరు ఒకసారి చదువుతారా 6 శ్లోకాస్ ఎన్ని ఉన్నాయి కంప్లీట్ 9 కంప్లీట్ 9 అయితే
చదివేసి. Yes. చదవనా మాతాజీ?
yes Prabhuji.
భగవద్గీత 13.22 పురుష ప్రకృతిస్థో హి భూతే ప్రకృతియాం గుణః కారణం గుణ సంగోస్య సదసద్యోని జన్మసు. భగవద్గీత 13.23 ఉపదృష్టానుమంతా చ భర్తా భోక్తా మహేశ్వరః పరమాత్మేతి చాప్యుక్తో దేహేస్మిన్ పురుషః పరః. భగవద్గీత 14.26 మాం చయో అవ్యభిచారేణ భక్తి యోగేన సేవతే సగుణాన్ సమతీత్యైతాన్ బ్రహ్మ భూయాయ కల్పతే. భగవద్గీత 15.7 మమైవాంశో జీవలోకే జీవభూతః సనాతనః మనః షష్టాని ఇంద్రియాణి ప్రకృతిస్థాని కర్షతి. Can you please share the next one, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Is it visible? 15.15?
No, Mataji.
It's not visible.
Yes, now it is visible. But the previous one only. No, the previous one.
Yeah, that's what. Just now I shared Prabhuji 15.15. Let me check once. Yeah. Is it visible 15.15?
No, no, not yet, Mataji.
అంటే ఏం పర్వాలేదులేండి మాతాజీ 4 చదువుతానండి ఈరోజు.
లేదు
I
15.15. Are you able to see Prabhuji's?
నో మాతాజీ.
Permit sharing here.
మీరు అక్కడ షేర్ చేసేటప్పుడు డెస్క్టాప్ అని సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకోండి మాతాజీ, సో దట్ వీ కెన్ సీ.
Grace. Is it visible, Prabhuji? 15.15?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji. Sorry.
Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smritirjnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo vedanta kritveda videva chaham. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. Brahma bhuta prasannatma न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम्. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावन्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तद् अनन्तरम्. Bhagavad Gita 18.65. मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मां एव युष्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजानी प्रियोऽसि मे. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita. Bhakti Shastri devotees, please get
Yes,
started.
ma'am.
If you know
I
the
will do.
translation, please you can read Prabhuji. Otherwise, you can by heart. Okay, by your own. Okay, but now
Thank you.
Prabhuji was asking to read only shlokas. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Sarvasya chaham hudi sannivishto matta smrti jnanamapohanam cha vedaicha sarvairaham eva vidyo vedanta krudveda videva chaham. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kanshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva visate tadanantaram. Bhagavad Gita 18.65. Manmana bhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mamevesyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasyami ma suchaha.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Anybody from Bhakti Shastri Shlokas? Hare Krishna. Mataji, Sandhya Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do Mataji.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita 15.15.
No. Just a second. It's not 15.15. మీరు phone లో చూసుకుంటూ చదవండి మాతాజీ. పురుష ప్రకృతి స్తోహి 13.22.
Okay.
Actually, my socket is not working, so I am unable to put the charging here. So you can read from phone, Mataji. Okay.
पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्योनिजन्मसु उपदृष्टानुमन्ताश्च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहिस्मिन् पुरुषः परः मां च यो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यात्तान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूता सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृत्वेदविदेव चाहम् ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या माम् अभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजि मां नमस्कुरु माम् एवैष्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य माम् एकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Thank you so much, Master.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody left for shloka recitation from Bhakti Shastri? Haribol, Hare Krishna. Yeah, please, devotees, you can recite one by one and only shlokas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, you can do, Prabhuji.
पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः मांशयो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणाः समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम् ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरं मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्यन्ते प्रतिजानी प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. हरे कृष्ण माताजी.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can I go?
Yeah, you can read, Prabhuji. I am logging from my phone. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Prabhuji, you can.
Okay. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम् ब्रह्मभूतप्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान् यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तद् अनन्तरम् मन्मनामव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैस्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतियान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु उपदृष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः पर मां च यो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्या तन् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूता सनातनः मनःशास्त्राणि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति हरे कृष्ण थैंक यू
Thank you, Prabhuji. Vani Mataji. చేస్తారా?
చేస్తాను, మీరు చేసిన తర్వాత చేస్తాను మాతాజీ.
ఓకే. Hare Krishna. 13.22. Is it audible, Hare Krishna?
Yes, madam. Okay, okay.
Echo వస్తుందా ప్రభుజీ?
లేదులేండి, బాగుంది.
భగవద్గీత 13.22. పురుష ప్రకృతిస్థో హి భుంక్తే ప్రకృతి జాన్ గుణాన్ కారణం గుణ సంగోస్య సదసద్యో నిజన్మసు. భగవద్గీత 13.23. ఉపదృష్టానుమంతా చ భర్తా భోక్తా మహేశ్వర పరమాత్మేతి చాప్యుక్తో దేహేస్మిన్ పురుష పరా. భగవద్గీత 14.26. మాం చయో అవ్యభిచారేణ భక్తి యోగేన సేవతే సగుణాన్ సమతీత్యైతాన్ బ్రహ్మ భూయాయ కల్పతే. భగవద్గీత 15.7. మమైవాంశో జీవలోకే జీవభూతా సనాతనా మనశ్శష్టానింద్రియాణి ప్రకృతిస్థాని కర్షతి. భగవద్గీత 15.15. సర్వస్య చాహం హృది సన్నివిష్టో మత్తః స్మృతిజ్ఞానమపోహనం చ వేదైస్య సర్వైరహమేవ వేద్యో వేదాంతకృద్వేద విద్యేవ చాహం. భగవద్గీత 18.54. బ్రహ్మభూతా ప్రసన్నాత్మా న శోచతి న కాంక్షతి సమః సర్వేషు భూతేషు మద్భక్తిం లభతే పరాం. భక్త్యా మామభిజానాతి యావన్యశ్చాస్మి తత్వతా తతో మాం తత్వతో జ్ఞాత్వా విశతే తదనంతరం. భగవద్గీత 18.65. మన్మనా భవ మద్భక్తో మద్యాజీ మాం నమస్కురు మామే వైష్యసి సత్యంతే ప్రతిజానే ప్రియోసి మే. భగవద్గీత 18.66. సర్వధర్మాన్ పరిత్యజ్య మామేకం శరణం వ్రజ అహం త్వాం సర్వ పాపేభ్యో మోక్షయిష్యామి మా శుచా. Vani Mataji, you can recite and you can end with Hare Krishna. Okay.
Yes, Mataji, I'm not able to see the screen.
మీరు ఫోన్ లో చూసుకోండి మాతాజీ.
అవునా, ఒక్క నిమిషం.
వెదర్ రీడింగ్ లో ఉంది లాస్ట్ లో.
యా.
కనపడిందా మాతాజీ?
కనిపించింది మాతాజీ. పురుష ప్రకృతిస్థో హి భుక్తే ప్రకృతి జనగుణాన్ కారణం గుణ సంగస్య సద్ అసద్యో నిజన్మసు. ఉపద్రష్టానుమంతా చ భర్తా భోక్తా మహేశ్వర పరమాత్మేతి చాప్యుక్తో దేహేస్మిన్ పురుష పరః. మాం చ యో వ్యభిచారేణ భక్తి యోగేన సేవతే సహ గుణా సమతిత్యేత్యాన్ బ్రహ్మ భూయాయ కల్పతే. మమైవంశ జీవలోకే జీవభూతా సనాతనా మనశ్శస్త్రియాణి ఇంద్రియాణి ప్రకృతిస్థాని కర్షతి.
అయిపోయింది కదా?
Yes,
ఇంకేమైనా ఉందా?
15.15 చూడండి.
సర్వస్య చాహం.
నెక్స్ట్ స్లైడ్ మాతజీ.
ఓకే ఓకే సరే. సర్వస్య చాహం హృది సన్నివిష్టో మత్తా స్మృతిర్జ్ఞానమపోహనం చ వేदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविद् एव चाहम् ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते परम् भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यवान्यश्चस्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तत् अनन्तरम् मन्मना भावमद्भक्तो मद्यजी मां नमस्कुरु मामेव शस्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजने प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वं सर्वपापेभ्यो మోక్షయాస్యామి మా శుచః. ఇది ఎప్పుడు రాదు మాతాజీ ఈ వర్డ్ మాత్రం. ఓకే, మోక్షయిష్యామి మా శుచః. ఎవరు చెప్పకుండా రావట్లేదు అది. థ్యాంక్ యూ మాతాజీ.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhujis and Matajis. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya कृपा सिंधुभ्यो एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्रील गुरुदेव की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसजेंडर बुक रीडिंग की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसजेंडर बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय. Yeah, sorry, it was hectic day for me, so I couldn't concentrate today. So
No worries, Mataji.
yeah.
రథయాత్ర బాగా జరిగిందా మాతాజీ?
Yeah, బాగా జరిగింది ప్రభుజీ. Yeah, బాగా జరిగింది.
ఫోటోస్ షేర్ చేయండి మాతాజీ.
Yes, Prabhuji, we'll share. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhujis and Matajis.